This week's edition of NJBIA's Minding Your Business is brought to you in part by AT&T, helping family, friends, and neighbors connect in meaningful ways every day. PPAC Gladstone Bank, known nationally and in New Jersey for providing unparalleled client service, integrity, and trust for over 100 years. New Jersey's community colleges, aligning education to build an innovative workforce. Find out how your business can benefit at njpathways.org. And by New Jersey Business Magazine, providing critical information needs for New Jersey's business community for more than 66 years.
Welcome to NJBIA's Minding Your Business. I'm Bob Considine. Well, the KPMG Women's PGA Championship is swinging into the legendary Baltusrol Golf Club on June 21st. This is a big tournament that's a big undertaking, but also pays big dividends for Baltusrol, the region, and the state. Here to discuss how the historic golf club is making sure everything is up to par is the tournament's general chair, Mary Lou Carter. Mary Lou, thank you so much for being here.
I'm happy to be here.
All right, so we're just a few days out from this event. Is Baltusrol ready, Mary Lou? Are they ready to go?
We are ready, absolutely. And not only ready, but we're very, very excited. Since 1901, we've been doing tournaments.
Yeah, I know we'll get into the history of Baltusrol and the tournaments. It's really quite extensive. I was thinking you were named to be the general chair for Baltusrol for this event, I think as far back as 2020. So I'm wondering, does the planning start all the way back that far for you? Have you had sleepless nights for 3 years on this?
No, I have not had one sleepless night, even now, a week out. But yes, you do start a tournament several years in advance. Honestly, it's like planning a business for 3 years that will work for 1 week. And you have to think of everything.
Right.
It's a fascinating experience, actually.
Yeah, and even going back to it, I think when you'd been named the chair of the tournament, the president of the Baltusrol Golf Club at the time, Rick Shea, had said, I can't think of anyone more qualified than Mary Lou Carter to chair this event. I was like, no pressure, right?
It was a daunting ask, I have to say. At first, I didn't believe it when he asked me, but I talked to a few people, got some great advice, and I love volunteering, so I would never say no to a volunteer job.
And you have an impressive resume. I know you served at the executive committee at Baltusrol for the 2016 Men's PGA Championship, the 2018 USGA Amateur Championship at Baltusrol, and the executive committee and the scoring chair for the PGA Championship at Bethpage. So I guess my question is, are there things you learn along the way as you go through the process of all these tournaments?
There's a lot you learn as technology has advanced. Things have changed. So things that we did in tournament years ago, we no longer do that. So this championship has some of the same elements that I learned along the road, but there's lots of new technology, and certainly there's always a new experience as far as problem solving when you have a problem.
Right, that's great. Talk about, Mary Lou, some of the committees that go into making a big tournament like this come together. I guess there's tickets, there's scoring. What do you have to organize here?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, we have almost 1,100 volunteers.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a wow. And we have 6 division chairs that have underneath them several committees, big committees. There's a whole scoring division, which would be leaderboards, standard bearers, the walking scorers. So you have each division chair that I have. I had to build out that org chart, and each of them have huge jobs in their own right.
Right. I'm also sure there's things that people, the average golf fan who are attending something like this, they wouldn't even think of all the things that go into this. Could it be really overwhelming sometimes for you?
Having worked with the PGA several times, they do have everything mapped out. They are professionals at this.
Right.
Their manuals, their meetings with the division chairs, with the committee chairs, their training. They have to retrain. They're patient, they're kind, and they actually know exactly what they're doing. So I always tell all my volunteers, we will not fail. We will figure it out, whatever it is. And USGA does the same thing, but PGA is wonderful to work with, and it's been a wonderful relationship between Baltusrol and the PGA of America.
Yeah, that's great. I was also wondering, as you're talking about volunteers, Mary Lou, I guess you solicit them as the weeks and months leading up to the tournament. What kind of feedback do you get? Is it a hard slog to get all the people you need, or are people jumping at the bit to do this?
It certainly depends on the championship. Something like the Ryder Cup has a very long waiting list, obviously, to be a volunteer. When you're a volunteer, you're working probably 3 shifts, but you're allowed in the championship for the whole week. So it's a pretty good deal for any of the people that volunteer. Is it hard to get them? Probably a little bit more challenging. We had to close it, that we have found all our volunteers we needed. We do have a waiting list for it. But I actually have read almost every one of those volunteer registrations if they've come on. They come from all over. People love this. It can be like a vacation for them to come, and you're going to see the best athletes in the game of golf, and you're going to see them up close. It's a great experience.
That is fascinating. I had no idea. I assumed most of the people who were volunteer were local, and they're like, yeah, it's coming. We got a big tournament coming back to Springfield. Let's get in on it. Are there any duties that are particularly popular for volunteers, that they want to be able to do this versus something else?
It certainly depends on the comfort of the volunteer. I think walking scores, you're inside the ropes. You spend 18 holes with 2 or 3 players, depending which round it is. You really get to hear what they say to their caddy. You get to see their thinking, their management on the course. It is fascinating to watch. I have been a walking scorer for many tournaments. I volunteer anyways, even for the local ones. But it is full of a lot of demands. You're working off a handheld type computer, and remember, all that information is going back to TV, so that can be stressful.
Yeah.
Some people love the aspect of being helping out with directing our visitors where to go. Some people like working with the players, whether it's registration for them or their caddies. So there's all different areas depending on your comfort level, but everybody becomes like a little team. And on Thursday morning, when the tournament, the championship starts, it is like taking a cannon and blowing 800 people out and saying, okay, here's your chance. And by Friday afternoon, they have all become so close and so full of pride of what they have done. So on Sunday night, you'll see a champion, receive the trophy, but there is a whole lot that's gone on behind the scenes where people have made friendships and been very proud of their work, whether it's marshalling or directing or helping people that are disabled. It's pretty amazing.
Right. How about in terms of the lower course at Baltusrol? This is kind of a legendary course. I know Baltusrol has played host to a total of 11 major championships in its rich history, but I think this is going to be the first one on the restored lower course. So what did the restoration focus on, and when did it happen?
Well, we're all very excited about the restoration. When Tillinghast did it 100 years ago, we loved it was 2 courses. Actually, the first club that ever had 2 18-hole courses.
Is that right?
Yeah, it is. We took it back to its original Tillinghast design, which took quite a while. And Gil Hance was, of course, incredibly instrumental and had incredible insights. So it is a very different course in many ways, but has the same challenges as Tillinghast intended. And it has the same views that were at 100 years ago on the course. So we have not tested this course in a championship. We're very excited about it. I think the ladies are thrilled to come to a course that has had so many championships. We're looking for a really great experience and a fun one and a fair challenge.
Right. I haven't been to Baltusrol since the restoration of that course, but I did see some photographs. and I saw how that kind of legendary hole 17 par 5, they really reorganized the bunker in a very interesting way. It's almost like there's portions of the bunker, for lack of a better description. I'm wondering what kind of feedback you've gotten both on that hole and on the course since it was restored in 2021.
A tremendous amount of positive feedback. It is a challenge because you have the bunkers that go the width of the hole before you can even approach the green. And approaching the green, you have bunkers that you're going to have to navigate up onto a green and stay up on that green. It's been very positive. It's a fun challenge. I think anybody that plays the course can imagine Tillinghast sitting on the side as he did and enjoying himself and crafting out each of the holes. So some of the things that we thought, like I remember a lot of the greens are a lot bigger than original, but they're much more difficult. And the fifth hole is particularly interesting. That has really changed in some ways to challenge our golfers.
Yeah. I haven't played there, but I know if I did, I'd be bringing a beach chair just to get comfortable for the amount of times I'd be in the sand trap. And the upper course there, is that going to have a restoration in 2024? Just curious.
Yes, we will be restoring that course starting this fall. So we'll go back to just having one course for 2 years. One of the things that's very different in the lower course, there's not a first cut anymore. Tillinghast did not have a first cut. So you're either in the very healthy rough or you're on the fairway. So very big change from what we've had over the past. Yeah,
and of course the 18th hole at the lower course, going back to that one, still has that great view of the clubhouse as you're kind of winding it up, right?
Yes. It's a wonderful hole, a wonderful hole. And even though there isn't that much water, it certainly comes into play.
Right. So Mary Lou, since you've had so much experience with big tournaments at Baltusrol, how would you describe how these events impact the local economy in Springfield and the surrounding areas? I mean, this is something that can definitely bring tourism, I think.
Oh, absolutely. It definitely helps the economy of the area. It promotes certainly people that have not been in this part in Springfield to enjoy Springfield, find all the treasures we have in New Jersey. It's right in every area has its own, but Summit, and Milburn, and Springfield, all the towns around are hosting a lot of the people that are coming into town. And I think it is an effort that helps everybody.
Yeah, and we should mention that the KPMG Women's Championship is a collaboration of the PGA of America, the LPGA, and KPMG, and they focus on development and advancement and empowerment of women. So I guess my question to you, Mary Lou, is how important is this mission in the grand scheme of things? You're obviously putting together a fantastic tournament, but how important for women's leadership and empowerment of women is this tournament?
Oh, it's really important. The KPMG scholarships that come out of this tournament is major. I think the empowerment of girls learning the game, another sport that they can excel in, and to see the demeanor and the golf is such a game of etiquette. It is the only sport you officiate yourself, actually. And it's an important part of life, I think. And Baltusrol really supports women's golf. So it is a win-win-win, and we're very excited about it.
Great. So we know this is going to be a great event, great mission. It's the the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. It's coming up just a few days from June 21st to June 25th, or Wednesday to Sunday if you don't want to look at a calendar. And it's going to have the top golfers in the world, right, Mary Lou?
The very best. This is a major tournament for the women.
Yeah, $9 million purse?
$9 million purse.
Wow, that's fantastic. So if people want to buy tickets, they can go to kpmgwomen'schampionship.com, or if they want to learn more about Baltusrol, they can just go to baltusrol.org, and there's some great history on that website. Mary Lou Carter, thank you so much for being here, and good luck.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right, we'll be back right after these words.
financial planning is helpful for people of all ages, whether they're single, married, or families. People in their 50s and 60s are typically coming to us for retirement planning. Can they retire? When can they retire? People, as they get a little bit older, will be interested in estate planning, so we can help with estate planning. People in their 30s and 40s are really too young for a full-on financial plan, but they do have a lot of financial questions, and we're a resource for that as well. We also work with the grown children of our clients to educate them and get them started on their own financial feet. Reach out to your wealth advisor at BPAC Private and we'll start working on your financial plan.
We are made to connect. Stepping into limitless possibilities. As we create with purpose, influencing the culture as we rise. Contributing to a world of inspiration.
We are Black Future Makers.
Welcome back to NJBIA's Minding Your Business. I'm Bob Considine. Well, filling C-suite positions in the nonprofit space brings along a unique set of challenges, but fortunately there are experts in nonprofit leadership searches and nonprofit leadership coaching. And one of the greatest in the field happens to be here with us today. He's the founder of DCM Associates, Dennis C. Miller. Dennis, thank you for joining us all the way from Marina Del Rey, a Jersey City boy.
Bob, it's my pleasure to be here. I miss Jersey City, but I'm getting rid of the accent a little bit, but I still talk like 33rd Street and 3rd Avenue.
That's all right. We'll take it. So, Dennis, for our audience, what is DCM Associates and how long has it been in existence?
Yeah, the legal name of our company is Dennis C. Miller Associates, Inc., but since we grew from me and one colleague back in 2007 to about 22 people with DCM Associates, we are a national executive search firm for CEOs and C-suite positions in the social impact nonprofit space. That's the main part of our business, and we do a tremendous amount of work, certainly in New Jersey and surrounding states, but now around the country. But it's all about executive search.
I've always been curious, Dennis. You were formerly a president and CEO of the Somerset Medical Center Foundation. What made you want to make the jump to form Dennis C. Miller Associates?
Well, a couple of things. When I was the president of Somerset Medical Center, I really enjoyed myself, and this was an opportunity at the very end to do something differently. There was a crisis going on there when I was the president. We were the hospital that captured Charles Cullen, the nurse that had killed a lot of people, and it kind of took everything away from me. It just kind of took all my energy away, and I agreed to sort of take a package and do something else. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, Bob. I thought about being a consultant to a lot of people that wanted to sell the hospitals, and one day I met with a woman from the American Cancer Society because we had built a beautiful cancer center and had a real good advisory board and had invited people from the community beyond that. And one day I went to meet with her and she asked me, her name is Robin Albers, or she works now for the Salvation Army, but she said, how did you build your board, Dennis? And how did you raise all that money? And how did you build that leadership team? And 100% accurately, I went out the backyard parking lot, got in my car, and there's a light bulb went off. And I said, you know what? I'm going to devote the rest of my life to helping these nonprofit organizations. And that was it. I stopped. Never done work, well, maybe a little bit of hospital work, but hardly ever hospital work. And that was the origins of how the firm started, was that.
Very interesting. So am I correct that nonprofit clients come to you for help in finding CEOs or CFOs or other executive level positions? Is that how it works?
Yes, we do a lot of, obviously, marketing, and I myself, I speak around the country, and I always joke, if Mrs. Fritz, my 7th grade English teacher, knew I wrote 2 sentences together, she'd have a heart attack. If she knew I had 5 books, including one about a guide to recruiting an ex-CEO, the executive for Tampa for nonprofit board, she'd have maybe a party in the cemetery.
Right.
But we get a lot of work comes to us because we have a really good reputation, and so our focus is over the past 5 years, at least, exclusively on CEO and C-suite searches. We don't do anything below that.
Got it. And what kind of processes do you have for conducting those searches for nonprofit?
Yeah, that's good. We have a 5-stage process, Bob, which is very thorough and kind of meaning. The first stage is we don't start taking a job description and then posting and waiting for people to apply. It's not what we do. We spend a lot of time, first 2 weeks with a client, meeting with them, getting a sense of where they're at as an organization, if someone's retired or someone's been terminated, where they're going. So we had a sense of what these critical issues are and the competencies and skills and experience and personal attributes they're going to need for that. And so sometimes, when someone retires after 25 years, 20 years, they say, I want someone just like Bob. Well, maybe you don't. And so we saw that's the first stage. Second stage is we have our own research team. So we research through LinkedIn, other tools we have, and identify candidates, potential candidates. But a lot of it's reaching out to people like yourselves and other people at NJBIA. Hey, we're doing a search here. This is what we're looking for. Is there anybody coming to mind? Anybody you think we should talk to?
Right.
From that second stage, we'd start interviewing process. We have at least 2 people in our firm, a client engagement partner and a client engagement executive that does the interviewing of the candidates. And then from there, we're obviously very much in touch with the search committee and the search committee chair and communicating with them and take them through that process. And we guide them through that we have a sort of a ideal interview matrix that we provide people. And at some point, we eventually have a sort of a personality leadership assessment tool that we use to get people's DNA and how they're wired and what makes, how they're wired. And then obviously we do a lot of reference checking and then follow up with the committee. And if we need to, make an offer and we go from the initial announcement to the closing announcement.
Wow. And
our process takes you about 90 to 120 days.
Wow, it sounds really thorough. As you're going through that, I was wondering, conversely, are there any potential nonprofit executives who come to you looking to play matchmaker for a nonprofit? I wonder if that ever happens.
Yeah, it does. I mean, listen, we get a lot. Listen, throughout our career, I know what it's like to be out of work, and I hardly ever turn anybody away who wants to get my advice and discuss a transition. I kind of went out of my way to try to introduce them to other people. I've done it this week here. So we get a lot of people who may want to recommend someone else or just want to talk about themselves. So maybe other people may poo-poo them away, but to me, it's part of who we are and the business we're in. So we're trying to help whether you're seeking a position. But we tell people up front, we're not a job placement firm, so we don't have jobs we're looking to place you at. But we do a lot of all we do is retain search, but we're happy to consider. Now, there are some people who, whatever reason, they may not fit into this search, and I've got lots of experience with that, but they, COO search for one doesn't work out, and they become a CEO someplace else or whatever. So we deal with a lot of people, but every search is unique to itself, and we start afresh from each search. It's not a job placement firm.
Got it. You said something interesting, Dennis. We talk about DNA, and I was wondering if there's anything inherently different about the makeup or acumen of a nonprofit CEO versus a for-profit CEO. Is there any difference?
Just a tax status in many ways. I think a couple of things here. I've been both. I've been a corporate officer with a public-owned company for 7 years in between running one hospital and running another here. Certain competencies you have to be. And today, I use the word CEO as Chief Entrepreneurial Officer or Chief External Officer. Today, very differently than it was, Bob. Today, it's really about building your brand, building a relationship with the community. It's very important to talk about the impact you're having in the community because of social impact, because people will invest in your impact, not just talk about how big you are.
Right.
Clearly, the differences, is that, there's 2 major differences. In the for-profit entities, the chair of the board, he or she is the face of the public, usually the face of the public, Lee Iacocca's of the world and stuff like that. In the nonprofit world, it's not the chair of the board who's the face of the organization. It is the executive director, CEO. I use those terms interchangeably. But there's so many skills that are really relevant today. In years gone by, nonprofit boards sought someone that was very just mission-driven, maybe a good program director, a grant writer, a community relations. But today, it's very different. People are seeking visionary thinking. They want the CEO to set the vision and not the board to set it and them to follow. High level of emotional intelligence is really important. A relationship builder, there's nothing a CEO needs to do more successfully at than be a relationship builder, be able to earn people's trust and respect. That is just crucial and important.
All right, very good. And in terms of other services, you do offer board and leadership coaching and consulting. What does that entail exactly?
Bob, we also have, and it's really kind of where I started from, we have what's called the DCM Institute for Transformational Nonprofit Leadership and Board Performance. So we provide very affordable tools to do an executive leadership and board governance assessment, so you can see where you're at, how's the leadership and board view each other, and it's anonymous, so you don't have, there's no names involved, but it's a very comprehensive report. It's like $975. We have a CEO evaluation tool that allows the board to easily evaluate the CEO without having to make phone calls and emails and faxes and collator. We do that for you. With a board to do, CEO to do a self-evaluation. We have 360 tools. We have 2 online courses, how to become a high-performing nonprofit board, high-performing nonprofit leadership team. We've got a lot of different tools and coaches. We've got, some really phenomenal people on our team that have been CEOs, chief learning officer, for major companies, human resources. So we're a really quite talented team, but we do a lot of leadership coaching and leadership board and evaluation assessments, yes.
Yeah, great stuff. I wanted to make mention of Tom Weatherall is the president of the Make-A-Wish Foundation of New Jersey, great organization. And he had said of you, oftentimes from consultants you get the safe answer, but from Dennis he tells it like it is, and I find that refreshing. So I'm wondering, 1, is that true? And 2, have you found from folks, maybe they don't want you to be that honest?
Well, it's true. I know Tommy quite well, and he's a fabulous guy on what he's done there at Make-A-Wish down in Monroe Township. I met Tommy when he was in Union, New Jersey, without the castle, so that's how long I go back with Tom. I'm involved with that even this week with a client here in New Jersey, and I don't know any other way to not be honest with people if I feel the board's not doing what they need to do, or there's some issues going on. I've had those issues with, dealing with dressing boards and things like that here, and or with CEOs. So it comes from a point of view of really caring. It does come from a point of view of, my job is to try to help you out. And sometimes, listen, I've been helped out by people, telling me, including my wife of 42 years, get my own act together or something like that. Right. But I think it's important to be honest with people and give people feedback, and not in a way of being critical, but saying, I need to, tell you what I'm hearing. And I can, there's a lot of details to that, but it's important to be, and so Tommy's right. I mean, I was, very fair with Tommy, and we talked and chatted about a lot of stuff here, but, we have built a great relationship over the years, and I'm happy to call him a friend besides a client.
Yeah, it's great. Dennis, we have just time for one more question. We haven't gone into your full life story due to the time constraints, but obviously you've overcome many personal challenges, both as a kid and growing up in Jersey City as a young adult, and all really well chronicled in your latest book. And it's been an amazing journey. So I want to know, as you stand upon this mountain that is DCM Associates right now, what kind of personal satisfaction are you getting out of what you do right now?
Yeah, Bob, it's a great question. Tremendous amount of satisfaction by being in a situation with the experience I have and members of my team have to kind of give back. I mean, is the ultimate leadership coach to be able to give back and do an executive search for someone who's going to run an organization. I did chronicle, my personal life story in my book, Mopping Floors as a CEO, of hopelessness and failure that happens in success. Back in a few months ago, I was keynote speaker and leadership presenter at the FBI conference in Houston. It was a very proud moment to be doing that here.
Right.
Growing up, the difficulties that I had, the trauma I incurred as a kid, and the difficulties I overcame, and got the help that I needed, and always persevered and never gave up. It's a proud moment when I sort of look back. It's been a long time ago, but I look back and realize how far I've come, and to be in business for almost 18 years, something, and be married for 42 years today. And have clients just today. We had a client just another 5th search for an organization out of state. So it feels good to be where I'm at right now.
That is tremendous. Well, you've come a long way. You're doing great work. I'm sure your wife is very proud of you too, and you're proud of her. If anybody wants to learn more about Dennis C. Miller Associates, you're going to go to denniscmiller.com. DCMAssociates.com. Go get your initial consultation. He's got great references, great resources there. Get on his mailing list. Great stuff there. And do check out his book, Mopping Floors to the CEO. It's a great read. Dennis C. Miller, thank you so much for being here.
Bob, it's my pleasure. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right. And thank you all for joining us on NJBIA's Minding Your Business. We'll see you next time.